Okay, so now let's talk about color. And we're going to drop down into this module that's hue, saturation, and luminance, HSL, color, and black and white. We're not going to talk about color, black and white yet, but we will get to that. But let's talk about HSL first. Hue is, as you see, you've got these sliders that you can adjust the hue of all the red in that image, all the blue, all the green, any one of these. You can crank up, crank down, do whatever you want. You can really go wild and do some funky colors if you want. Everything's going to happen real time. I almost never use this. I basically am going to reset that to hue, double click hue and reset that. I will sometimes use the saturation over here, so maybe I want to take the blue and crank up the saturation a little bit, and maybe the green, give it a little more saturation. But the one that I really play with is luminance, because it's going to brighten and darken those areas, and that's usually what's going on and where I want to make some changes. So I may want to take the green and lighten it up a little bit. I may want to take the blue and darken it up a little bit, bring in some more of the clouds just slightly and darken up the mountains a little bit. But here's the thing, with each one of these, sometimes it's just a guess about what area is going to be what. Is it more green or is it more yellow? I'm not really sure. That's where, if I double click back on luminance and reset it, this is where the target adjustment tool, you see it sitting over here again, really comes in handy. Let's say, for instance, I want to affect this grass. Well, the nice thing is you can see it kind of floating over here on the side. Wherever I go, it's showing what's going to be affected. If I click on this grass and I drag up, it's going to start brightening that grass. But it also is affecting, it's not just the green, but the yellow. So it's taking both those into consideration. And I couldn't do that by just grabbing both of them. I'd have to do them individually. But this takes care of both of them. I can come right here to the mountains, and I want to darken them. So I just pull down. I click and pull. And it's a great way to kind of retone the image using the target adjustment tool. The sky's a little dark, and see, it's going to carry off the blue, and I think that's a little too much, so I'm going to hold off on that. But that's a great way that you can come in here, and if you're not sure, okay, that's not a clear green or a clear yellow or whatever, use the target adjustment tool to really make a difference in what's going on. Now I can take and I can try to bump up. Here's where it's limited. I try to bump up the face of the buffalo. There's not a lot of coloring going on there as far as brightening. That would be more of a tonal thing than a coloring, raising the luminance of that. So just be aware of that's what goes on. You can click on all, and what it does is it shows all the panels right there together. I prefer to kind of just do them one at a time. Now, if you don't like the way this is set up, what you can do is you can do color instead, and it's sort of doing the same thing but in a different way. Here you have blue and you have HSL just for the blue. You have it just for the red. It's showing those same three things but in the individual colors, or if you want to, you can do all of them once again. I tend to prefer to sit over here and do this and pick what I'm going to work on. So I'm just going to play with the luminance right now and usually do the target adjustment tool. Now, once again, this is a creative tool. You don't have to just make everything perfect. You could decide, well, I want to make it extra funky, and you may want to come over and grab the hue and saturation and just start cranking that up and cranking it down and giving a different look to it. That's completely up to you. But just know that you can come over here and make all these adjustments and play with it all you want. It's up to you. And once again, if you get to the point where you don't like it, just double click on the name and reset all the sliders and start over again. So real handy, get in there and play with the colors.